The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 1.
Hey, Amanda, I was looking at the Omen movie, and I wondered if letters can turn into numbers, and vice versa.
What number specifically?
The number of the beast, 666.
My father, who is a member of Guayaquil's Rosicrucian Order,
Told me that the 666 is a reference to Roman Emperor Nero Caesar.
also, some manuscripts mention that the number is 616. But 616 is also a reference to Nero Caesar, so
So I decided to search if Hebrew letters can be turned into numbers.
And I found that gematria allows to reckon the number of a word and vice versa.
So I only need to find a word in Hebrew whose number is 666.
have you find that word you've said?
Not yet. I will search it today at home.
And I found that word. The Hebrew letters are Shin, Samech, Vav.
Peter is for Jesus, what Judas is for.
The Antichrist. The Antichrist. The Antichrist.
Everything its fault of the judge of the just cause. This is the anathemasim.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 2.
So, what was that dream you had?
First I jumped on Lucius Malfoy, Draco Malfoy's father.
Dude, I've never heard of him.
Draco and Lucius are both characters of Harry Potter's movie saga. Lucius told me that the world destruction was God's fault, and Lucius called God as the judge of the just cause. Fercho, your father is a lawyer. Did you ask him what judge of the just cause is? Sorry, Joshua, but my father never heard of any judge of the just cause. What about you, Amanda? Do you know what that term could mean?
Nope, I don't know. But maybe is what Joshua says. Who is more just than God?
And Josh, what was the other dream you had? I dreamt of Judas Iscariot, as he was a teacher. The class was full of kids, and Judas Iscariot asked the class, "Peter is for Jesus what Judas is for?" And the kids replied, "The Antichrist." And the kids replied that in a creepy way 3 times. Dude, you are creepy as fuck.
What was that word with the 666 gematria you found?
Shoshez, that's the word. I asked the rabbi for the pronunciation. Of course I didn't tell the rabbi that the gematria of that word was 666. He said that probably it was an internet acronym, or a variant of the Shushan Purim. Shushan Purim is a holiday in the Jewish calendar. So I placed the word pronounced as Shoshez in the Google Translator.
And the translation of that Hebrew word into Latin was Lucius. Lucius like Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter. Lucius, that video game, where Lucius is the Antichrist, Satan's son. But Lucius was also the name of Nero Caesar, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. At that point, I remembered what Amanda told me.
My father, who is a member of Guayaquil's Rosicrucian Order,
Told me that the 666 is a reference to Roman Emperor Nero Caesar.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 3.
I am intrigued by all this dreams I had. What have you found at your research?
That 3 Hebrew letters that allow me to reach the 666. Shim that equals 300, Samej that equals 60, and Vav that is 6.
Guys, you are both geeks as fuck.
Hey, who invited this creep?
Your mama. Fercho, I invited Gabo. Well, as I was saying, I also placed a word that phonetically is shoshes, but a rabbi at Quora app told me that shoshes ain't a real word. Dude, that really creeps me the shit out. But I have founded shoshes on the internet during a long research. Shoshes is a transliteration of a Yiddish surname. Dudes, you are both going off topic. Well, since I had that finding about the 666 gematria word, I have nightmares every day. Shit, you are face to face against the devil, for fuck's sake. But if you found that Shoshes has a 666 value, tell the school chaplain. Yeah, go tell the chaplain maybe you will meet Pope Francis. What Pope Francis? I might be burnt at the stake like a wizard, dude.
You will receive an award for your pseudo-discovery.
The other day I had a nightmare. Bianca took her life in front of me. Dude, Bianca barely knows you exist. And you are dating Rochelle, by the way. Bianca wants me, dude. I see that in her eyes. Dude, leave some chicks for us. What you are doing is monopolizing. About Rochelle, the other day at a party, I kissed her, but that's all. Can we forget all those fantasies and focus in the nightmare? Bianca told me this at my nightmare.
I will never be yours.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 4.
There is something true and a deceit with all this 666 gematria thing.
The book of Revelation, the Apocalypse, was written in Koine Greek.
So there is not sense that I found a word in Hebrew with a 666 gematria. So, the correct method for Koine Greek is isopsephy and not gematria.
But Pythagoras, who was Greek, said that gematria must be done in the native language of the written text or the written stone.
So, isopsephy would be for the beast name in Greek.
But what about Aramaic? That language is really hard to understand, at least for me. So, taking the Hebrew path, the word that I found is pronounced as shoshes.
But Hebrew dictionaries and the Quora rabbi mention that shoshes ain't a real word.
Somehow I found that Soshes is a German Yiddish surname, and also a variant of the name Sasha.
The biotech tycoon Sesam Bar Farange's daughter is called Shoshes Sesengen Bar Faranges.
So if the richest man in the world chooses this name for his daughter, it must not be such a weird or inexistent word.
The second strange thing is that Shushes in Hebrew is translated online as Lucius.
But placing a word in Google Translator and pretending to give it a mystic meaning is pure nonsense.
Somehow Lucius, the wrong translation, was also the name of Roman Emperor Nero Caesar. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus was Nero's name before being the emperor.
In the study of Apocalypse or Book of Revelation, there are 4 basic ways of interpretation. Futurism, that focus in what will happen in the so-called end times.
Through preterism, Nero Caesar fits almost perfectly to the Antichrist figure. By his name, and specifically the number of his name, Nero Kaiser is 666 according to well-known scholars.
But in futurism, how Nero would fix. There is a legend of Nero's return. Nero Redivivus is the legend of Lucius returning to the world, but this is a legend only.
The third strange thing in this whole situation are my continuous nightmares.
First, I dream on Judas Iscariot, the apostle that betrayed Jesus.
Second, I dreamt of Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter book saga. He held a fire serpent crozier or crook.
Then I dreamt on Nero holding the same fire serpent croix. Well, it seems it has 2 fire serpents.
Then I dreamt on my high school partner Bianca, taking her life in front of me.
What this fire serpent means? What do they hold it like a bishop's croix?
If the word I found in Hebrew with the 666 gematria is wrong,
If its translation is wrong,
If the connection between Lucius and the 666 is taken out of context by me, then why all these nightmares?
somehow for me is amazing that this whole madness started just by a single verse of the book of Revelation.
This calls for wisdom. Let him who has understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666. The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 5.
Destroy the Nehushtan! Destroy the idol!
And Jesus told Nicodemus, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life.
Mister, I have a question. Have you think the possibility that the brazen serpent is pagan?
Are you saying that I'm teaching you about heathens?
I'm not saying that, but I associate that symbol with ancient Egypt.
Okay, let us hear Joshua Emmanuel Torre's dissertation.
I will quote the Egyptologist Jean-Francois Champollion. Champollion, quoting Eusebius of Caesarea, said that the ancient Egyptians had a deity which they called Neph or Agatodaimon. Being agato, an ancient Greek word for good, and daemon not a demon but a spirit. The symbol of Neph was a serpent, a coiled serpent.
I don't know, Joshua, what kind of fiction you are watching. I find senseless any relation between ancient Egypt and the Hebrews. Beside of the obvious relation of the Exodus. So, your Champollion's quote that I assume you're inventing has nothing to do with that deity and the brazen serpent. The brazen serpent is a prefiguration of Jesus Christ. I also don't know what Nero, that was Roman, has to do with Egypt. You are mixing Jesus, Nero, ancient Egypt, and Moses in one. That's senseless.
I didn't mention Jesus. You did it, sir.
Okay, Joshua, I will talk to the high school chaplain. And you will have to bring your both parents here. Otherwise, you will have a disciplinary sanction.
Even I showed my religion teacher the pictures
that justified my statements.
I will have to go to high school with both of my parents.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 6.
You know what is funny about Allan Kardec? Allan Kardec said that God is the supreme intelligence.
Damien, I don't know what is funny about that.
Imagine a machine so powerful and intelligent that could surpass the supreme intelligence.
Damien, that is a hypothetical scenario?
Of course, Professor, that is a fictional case.
Mr. Torres, Mrs. Magdala, please be welcomed.
First, I would like to say that Joshua is an excellent student. But somehow I am concerned that all his knowledge is going the wrong way.
If he is such a great student, why are you concerned?
Minds like Henry Cornelius Agrippa, Giordano Bruno, Pico della Mirandola, and others
Have left completely or partially the Catholic Church and fell into the occult.
Your son quoted Jean-Francois Champollion in order to defend his statement. Champollion was a linguist that deciphered the hieroglyphs, the first one in the world indeed. Joshua quoted him all right, and even Mr. Gines, the teacher, didn't know who Champollion was. But Champollion was a Freemason, and Freemasonry is a form of religious syncretism. So mentioning that the brazen serpent is an Egyptian heathen or pagan symbol is wrong.
My husband and we don't know what that syncretism, cynism is.
We never taught religion to our child. He learned the Lord's Prayer and Hail Mary here at this high school.
Joshua was even expelled from his catechism classes when he was 11.
He didn't know the Lord's Prayer. We never attended Sunday Mass.
That's the reason why he was expelled from the catechism classes at the church near our house.
So then, please be aware of the type of books Joshua reads. Our books at the Liceo Frater Kreutz Rosen are chosen through a strict methodology. Here in Ecuador, there is a misconception that all books are good and that reading all is good. Books like those of Champollion, Henry Cornelius Agrippa, and every book on the occult are books that must be absolutely avoided by any member of the Catholic Church.
I will leave you alone for a couple of minutes so you can discuss how you will proceed.
I will leave this part in Spanish because any translation would reduce my mom's anger.
Oye, bechucha de tu madre. No sé qué chucha pretendes. Pero estás viendo que tu papá tiene cáncer, cara de la gabardina. Y andas ahí como cojudo, causándole problemas, pendejazo.
¿Qué chucha sacas con esos libros prohibidos, cara de la barenga?
Coja oficio, hijueputa.
Joshua, you know that I don't want to see your mom upset. Please don't make her angry.
Well, Joshua, what will you tell me about Moses' brazen serpent?
The brazen serpent is Neph, the Agatha diamond. It ain't a Christ prefiguration.
That's the reason why the king Hezekiah ordered to destroy it.
Hezekiah destroyed the Nehushtan that brought ancient Israel to idolatry.
Well, Joshua Emmanuel Torres Magdala, based on what you have just said,
You will have no grades during 2 weeks. You will not have any tests too. You will have to do every Saturday school labors with maintenance personnel and on Sundays go to community tasks.
For the next 5 months. If you don't reach your minimum grades, you will have to attend winter school.
Here in Ecuador, we have only summer and winter.
And winter school would be some sort of vacation classes called recuperación.
And remember that once 6 sanctions are reached, you get suspended, and the 7th is expulsion.
Expulsion means that you cannot study in any of the Nether Season Foundation institutes in Ecuador.
And also please take into account that the Nether Season Foundation finances 90% of the private institutes in this country. All have been said. You may all retire, please.
I've expected nothing from you, and in nothingness you let me down.
The Antichrist and the artificial intelligence. Tale number 7.
I will quote Jean-Francois Champollion.
Champollion said that there was a deity called Neft.
Neph was identified with a serpent.
Neph was for the Egyptians the supreme intelligence.
Being hermeneutics, the art of interpreting communication, related with theology and philology,
which is a deep understanding of a language, and I will apply both a literal interpretation and the spiritual one with pro-commentators. Saint Irenaeus, who lived circa 125 AD, on his book Against Heresies, said that the 616 was a copyist mistake, emphasizing that it is better to await the prophecy fulfillment,
rather than reckoning the beast's name by its number.
Evanthus, Latinos, and Titan, which is Titan,
were the names in Greek with an isopsephy value of 666.
Ancient Romans, according to Irenaeus, called the sun as Titan. According to Irenaeus, the apocalypse was written circa the 96 AD. So if the number reckoning would have been a matter of importance,
they would have already known the beast's name at the 1st century AD. 666 being the number was also told by Polycarp to Irenaeus. Saint Polycarp was a disciple of Saint John the Evangelist.
Modern commentators say that the 666 is a reference to Nero Kaiser, the Roman emperor. Some Catholic Bibles even have comments about the Nero legend.
You know, that legend circa 68 AD, where Nero resurrects from death.
But what about us, here in Ecuador, South America?
Is this just a mere superstition, that of placing a word at Google Translate to get wrong words? The Ecuadorian author Juan Quiñones Alban says that esoteric knowledge can be learned through errors. Irrtumancy from Irrtum or error in German, and mancy, which is divination.
There is something called the spirit of error in the first epistle of St. John.
Can the spirit of error manipulate the material reality, including the algorithm of a web app translator? Or these errors, hence my nightmares, are just product of my self-suggestion? I rearranged the Hebrew word with the 666 gematria, and I found some interesting things. Shuzu, the word pronounced as shus and translated into shasu, but misspelled, hence incorrect.
Shasu were a tribe of nomads. Some of them also worked as mercenaries for Asiatic and Egyptian armies.
Somehow it seems that I am not the first one with this shoshes, shus, shaso thing.
I found a letter in a magazine from the 19th century about this.
I searched also the meaning of anathemism, that word I dreamt of.
Anathemism is self-destruction in something called chaos magic.
Am I going towards my own anathemism?
Also, my recommendation algorithm is scary and dark. What motivates me to know these type of things?
Since this madness started, I only see recommendations of horror movies. Also, I see people speaking about real diabolical possessions, exorcisms. People talking on how dangerous is learning esoteric knowledge and believing in the occult. That's the reason why I started distrusting in my cell phone and its internet algorithm.
Satanas!
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 8.
And now on local news, the granddaughter of the Ecuadorian politician Ariel Fabre del Toro says that she wants to follow her grandfather's steps in charity.
This is Leonela Fabre del Toro, the granddaughter of Ariel Fabre del Toro. Lionela thinks that transhumanism will be a great opportunity for helping people.
Transhumanism is a way of transcending the human species, is improving our human nature through a proper use of technology. And I think that if we all were equal, this country, Ecuador, would be a better place.
Ariel Fabre del Toro shares this point of view with Lionela, his granddaughter.
Lionela is the apple of my eye. I only had sons and grandsons. She is the only granddaughter I have.
Fabre del Toro is the most influential Ecuadorian politician ever. Even his enemies recognize him as the biggest politician alive.
I dream in a better Ecuador, the country my grandpa built, and quoting Huxley, transhumanism will bring equality to whole mankind. Hey Amanda, that suspension your boyfriend had was the best for him.
Joshua ain't my boyfriend. Why you say that?
Well, Joshua's black, so why he talks about the apocalypse? Joshua should be playing football, basketball, or dancing salsa. That's what blacks do in Ecuador.
You are such a racist, Lionella. You hypocrite. Go tell the press what you think about the blacks, about poor people.
Honey, I'm the press. My family is the press. You ain't nothing.
At least my family don't have blood in their hands like yours. I better shut up. I want to live. I don't want your grandfather to disappear me.
I will kick your ass, little bitch. You are all a bunch of children kidnappers, occultists, cabal, Satan's worshippers! Your boyfriend Joshua is the devil's worshipper. He, with those gematria reckoning, the 666, the number of the beast. What Joshua does is cultural appropriation. And be careful, Amanda, we don't want the Nedersesen Foundation to cancel your scholarship.
That was Leonela Faber del Toro being Leonela Faber del Toro. When talking to the press, she acts some way, but with us, her classmates, she is different. Somehow she is right with something. Given a mystic sense to a translation error by the algorithm is superstition. But what about cultural appropriation? In a country with a population most of mestizos. Seems that our daily life and our local traditions are our culture. But how crazy would it be, specifically if we study in a Catholic high school, to have interest in reckoning the number of the beast mentioned in the book of Revelation? St. Irenaeus, the church fathers and church doctors have reckoned the 666. Why can't I reckon it too? Or even have an interest in previous reckonings? According to Leonela, because I'm black I must play football, basketball, and dance salsa. We discriminate others because of someone's origin? Seems that Leonela forgot that her ancestors were expelled from Portugal because of being Sephardic Jews, and that her surname is not Faber del Toro but Cordovero, which then her ancestors changed into Faber Cordovero and then into Faber del Toro Cordovero, which was shortened into Faber del Toro. They were related with Moshe Cordovero. Moshe Cordovero was a Spaniard Talmudist teacher, born in the Ottoman Empire. As the Faber del Toro Cordovero arrived to Ecuador from the Ottoman Empire, and as the Ottoman Empire people were known in Ecuador as Los Turcos, people in Ecuador mistakenly calls Los Cordoveros as Turcos, but they are Sephardic Jews. They were even applying to recover the Portuguese nationality through a resource issued by Portugal government. But this was rejected due to drug trafficking accusations to Leonela's family in Europe. Somehow is sad to explain this all, but someone has to say it. Not in the way like my good friend Amanda did. But truth cannot be hidden.
I believe in Ecuador as one fist. I want to continue in the future my family legacy.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 9.
I guess this whole situation is wrong. I gotta chill out. So I will call Rochelle for, kissing time. Hi, Rochelle. What's up?
Hi, Josh. You have been lost, honey.
Mama, I've been doing a lot of research.
Yeah, baby. And that research led you to a high school suspension.
Yep, but that suspension does not imply being grounded. I can go out easily.
And what my baby want to do, I want to hear it from you.
Mama, I want to repeat that experience of our last date.
Well, you must refresh my mind. Of course I remember, honey, but I had a problem with my parents because of that. One of my cousins saw us, and she told my parents that. So my parents know that we pay for getting into discos being underage. And my dad wants to have a serious talk with you, so he advises you to keep your researches. So my dad would not allow me to see you outside high school. He even wants to talk your mom.
Rochelle cheats on you, man. Everybody knows that. Technically ain't cheating. We are just friends that have kissed several times. Well, you should see that new friend that kisses her when you aren't there. He is old, man, 19 years old or even more.
And that dude is uglier than It the Clown when transformed. Seems at the end that this whole 666 reckoning led me to loneliness. But what annoys me the most is that the 666 reckoning of the algorithm error was not the main cause of my school suspension. Because you know, and you will remember, because I was suspended because I said that Moses' brazen serpent was an ancient Egyptian pagan symbol. What would my parents and the high school authorities do if they were aware of my beast number wrecking through a translation algorithm error?